So when it comes to Java, you don't have to indent any of the line. But when it comes to other programming languages, it requires an indentation because it will give you the clarity. Constants in Java refers to a fixed value that do not change throughout the execution of the program. Variable in the sense it varies throughout the execution. What exactly it is varying? The value is varying throughout the execution of the program. Keyword in the sense it is a reserve words. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to yet another important and interesting session of Java. So guys, hope you have seen this session 1 and 2. Suppose if you have not watched, please go back and check what I have done in the session 1 and 2. It's going to be very important for all of you because you will get a better idea how exactly Java is different from any other programming language. So fine. So what is that I have in today's session for all of you? So please have a notepad next to you before I start the session for all of you. So let's check what is that I'm going to discuss in today's session. I will be discussing about the programming style. So what exactly that I should follow if I am dealing with Java. So that is what I will be calling it as a programming style. Then after that, I have something called constants. What exactly constants is all about, what exactly variables is all about. I have different types of constants. Probably you would have studied about the constants in the previous programming languages, what you have studied. Say for example, in C programming language, you would have dealt with the constants. In the same way, even in the Java, we have constants. So we will be discussing about that. Along with that, we also have something called variables. So you guys are expert in that. And then what next? The important thing of this session is going to be the data types. So I will be discussing all these topics in the session with all of you. So please come on, let's start this session. So without wasting much of your time. Programming style. What exactly programming style is all about? They speak about indentation mainly in this topic. What exactly indentations are? You would have come across with respect to C programming language. Say for example, I'm writing a program something like this, right? Main, all right? This is a main function and then I'm opening a flower bracket, I'm closing a flower bracket. Suppose if I want to start my line, so I should start after this flower bracket, say for example like this, okay? This is what I will call it as an indentation. So for example, I have this if statement. So then after that, I am not supposed to start my flower bracket here, which belongs to if statement. So I should start it here rather. All right. So whatever the lines which belongs to this if statement, I should write it inside this flower bracket and I should close it like this. So this is what I will call it as an indentation. So when it comes to Java, it does not demand you to have a proper indentation. But personally, if you ask me, so whenever you want to have a program, so if you want to become a good programmer, so please have a proper indentation for all your programs. The proper indentation will give you the clarity whenever you are rechecking the program. You will understand what exactly you have done. So that is point number 1. Point number 2, people, those who are reviewing your code, people, those who are checking your program, even they will also easily understand what exactly the program is doing with the proper indentation. So that is more important that you need to keep it in your mind. So this is all about the programming style that you need to remember. Moving on to the next one, constants. What exactly constants is all about? When I speak about constants or when I see this word constant, I remember a beautiful quote. What is that? Change is the only constant thing in your life. Yes. So we need to remember this. Whenever I remember about constant, I remember this quote. So yes, moving on to understand the concept of constants now. What exactly constants is all about in programming language? My dear students, constants in Java refers to a fixed value that do not change throughout the execution of the program. The value whatever you have, so that will be remain as it is throughout the execution of the program is what I will call it as a constant. When it comes to the concept of constants, we have different types of values or different types of constants. Let's check the different types of constants that we have. The first one that we have, they call it as a Java constants. When I have a Java constants, so in this Java constants, I have different types of constants. The first one that you have to understand is numeric constants. So again, Java constants is getting divided, getting classified into two constants. The first one is numeric constant and the second one is character constant. Please make a note of it. This can be an important question with respect to your exam point of view. So please remember, so you will have to write this diagram. So when it comes to the constant, you all understood that we have two different types of constant. The first one is numeric constant, which always deals with number. That is what you need to remember. Easy to remember, right? So the second one is character constant. So let's understand, when it comes to numeric constant, we have two different types of constants under the category of numeric constant. The first one is integer constant and the second one is real constant. You all know that we have something called integer numbers, right? Say for example, if I write 10, 20, 30, all these things are the category which belongs to the integer constant. In the same way, suppose if I write 10.35, so this is what I will call it as real constants. It's very simple. You all know that now we have something called integer and float, right? So it's nothing but the integer constant. Integer numbers are nothing but integer constants. So whatever the integer value that I have, I will call that as integer constants. The float value what I have, I will call that as a real constant. So whenever I say integer, so you have to remember it comes under the category of numeric constant. Obviously, it's a numbers, right? So that's why it is coming under numeric constants. So fine. What is the next thing that I have? I have the next category, that is character constant. When it comes to character constant, you need to remember a simple thing. The first one is character constant and the second one is string constant. We also call it as single character constant and string constants. It's very simple to understand. Single character constant in the sense, say for example, if I write, say for example for this, okay, single character constant, let me rewrite it for you. I can also write single character constant. Say for example, I have A. How many characters I have here? I have only one character. Say for example, I have Z. How many characters I have? I have only one character. This is what I will call it as a single character constant. My value will be only one character. My value will be what? My value will be only one character. That's what you need to remember. Suppose if my value is a group of character, then I will call that as string constant. For example, let me write as Kaushik. So how many characters I have here? I have a group of characters. So this is what I will call it as a string constants. This is what I will call it as a single character constant. That's what you need to remember. So whatever the values that I have two categories of values. One is numeric values, another one is character values, right? Instead of calling it as a values, I'm calling it as constant here. That's what you need to remember to understand. All right. So this is all about constants that I have here. Okay, the next topic that I have is variables. A very interesting thing that you need to understand, variables. If I say, if I come across with a word called variables, I remember the basket. What exactly the basket is all about, sir? What usually we does with basket? We carry something. In the same way, even with a variable, I carry some value. So just now in the previous slide, we understood what exactly constant is all about. Constant is nothing but a value. In the same way, I need to carry that value, right? So to carry that value, I need something. So that is what I will call it as a variable. Variable holds the value. So that's what you need to remember. But I will be discussing that in detail. So how exactly it is holding? It is not holding actually. It's a name that we are giving for the memory which it is holding the value. So let me make it very simple for you. Say for example, I need to store something. Let me imagine I have 10. I need to store this value. Where do I store this value? I need to store this value in a memory location. Let's imagine this is the memory location. So I'm storing this 10 in this memory location. Then how do I identify this memory location? So to identify this memory location, I have the memory address. But is it easy for me to remember the memory address? No. So for that, what I'm doing is I'm giving the name for this memory address. So this is what I'm calling it as a variable. This is what I'm calling it as a variable. That's what you need to understand. So fine, let's check out what is the point that I have. The first point that I have is a variable is an identifier. Please remember this keyword. It's very, very important. Variable is an identifier that denotes the storage location used to store a data value. That's what we have discussed now. All right. Unlike the constant that remains unchanged during the execution of a program, the variable must take the different value. All right. So here is a spelling mistake. So please adjust. Variable must take the different values at different time. Please remember, this is going to be very, very important. I will read it for you one more time. So unlike the constants that remain unchanged during the execution of the program, a variable must take the different values at different times during the execution of the program. What is that you understood from this? Say for example, if I have the value, if it is not changing throughout the execution of the program, then I will call that as a constant. Suppose if I have the variable cannot say like that. Whatever I'm storing inside the variable should be flexible enough to have the different values throughout the execution of the program. That's what the speciality of the variable that you should remember. That is a major difference that you need to remember with respect to the constant and variable. Variable in the sense it varies throughout the execution. What exactly it is varying? The value is varying throughout the execution of the program. That's what you need to remember. But when it comes to constant, it is not like that. It is constant throughout the execution of the program. Three things you need to remember, my dear darlings: constant, variable, execution of the program. These three things are the common thing that we need to remember in these two slides. Constant will be same throughout the execution of the program. Variable, the value will not be same, or you cannot expect it to be same throughout the execution of the program. That's what you need to remember with respect to variable and constant. So fine, very easy and simple example I'll give you. Say for example, I have a is equal to 10. So this is what I will call it as a constant. This is what I will call it as a constant. But whatever I'm storing inside this a, it cannot be same throughout the execution of the program. I can change the value of a. I can change the value of a. Say for example, I can write like this: a is equal to a plus 1. So am I changing the value of a? Yes. So that is what you need to remember. But 10 is 10. I cannot change 10. 10 is 10. That's what you need to remember at this point of time. All right, moving forward, rules of identifiers. A very important rules that you need to remember. Let me start with the first one. So what exactly the first one that I have? They must not begin with a digit. What is that? They must not begin with a digit. I cannot name my name as like, one Kaushik. I cannot start like that. All right. So the letters should be there. I should not have the digit. Say for example, I have 1. Okay. So 1 Kaushik. Can I have my name like this? No, obviously not, right? So I'm not supposed to start with a digit. I'm not supposed to start with a digit. That is the first rule. The second one, upper and lower cases are distinct. What exactly it means? Upper case is different and lower case is different. Say for example, if you declare a variable with a capital A, this is different and small a is different. The case sensitive, whatever the variable that you are, whatever the identifiers that you are going to create. So it is case sensitive. Sir, so I have stored a is equal to 10 and I'm trying to access the small a. Will it be possible? No, it is not possible, is what you need to remember. It is case sensitive. So that is the second point that you need to remember. And the third point, here we go. It should not be a keyword. So all of you would have come across with a concept called keyword by now. What exactly a keyword is all about? Not keywords, it is keyword. All right. So keyword in the sense, it is a reserve words. Keywords in the sense what? It is a reserve words. All of you would have come across with the words like, if, while, and then you have for. All these things are the keywords, which has got its own meaning in the sense a reserve meaning. You cannot use such words whenever you are defining or whenever you are declaring a variable. So that is one more rule that you need to follow. So fine. What is the next one that I have? White space is not allowed. Say for example, I will be creating a variable like this, Kaushik, and then space KS. So can it be a variable? So is equal to 10. Can I write like this? No, you cannot, because I'm using a white space here. Suppose if I write like this, say for example, Kaushik KS is equal to 10. Can I write like this? Of course you can, because I'm not using the white space. Point number 1, I'm not starting with a digit. Point number 2, what is the second point? So I'm maintaining the case. Okay. Point number 3, Kaushik case is not a keyword. And point number 4, I'm not using any of the white space character. That's what you need to remember. And the last point, so please understand, identifier name can be of any length, but preferably 32 bits. All right. So don't keep a bigger length. So you don't have a bigger length of characters whenever you are using the identifier. So if you ask me, whenever you are naming the identifier should speak the purpose of why exactly you are creating the identifier. Say for example, I'm giving you the examples by taking A and Kaushik. It's a very bad, it's a very good example for a bad way of giving the name for the identifier. Say for example, I'm writing a program to calculate the square. Let me just take a simple example. If I'm writing a program to calculate or to perform addition of two numbers, so I'm not supposed to take A and B. If I take A and B, so fine in this program, but the professional way of writing the program is that you will take number 1 and number 2. So you will understand which one is the number 1 and which one is the number 2. So you understood that you have two numbers. So the variables should speak what exactly you are doing. And one more variable I will create, that is result. Okay, so I can just write like this, result is equal to num1 plus num2. So this is a better way of writing than like this, C is equal to A plus B. I can also write like this. When it comes to logic, both will work for me, but this is a better way of writing the program. So that's what you need to understand. Whenever you are writing a small program, it's okay, it's good. But whenever you are becoming a professional programmer, so please maintain the ethics of programming. So by giving or by declaring the relevant names for the variables. This is what you need to keep it in your mind. All right. So moving on to the next one, I have the beautiful concept, that's data types. Let me give you a simple example for all of you with respect to the data type. What exactly the data type is all about? Say for example, I have a coconut, a small coconut. I have 3 different bags. I repeat this example for all of you. Please open your ears and listen to me. I have the coconut. So hope all of you know the size of the coconut. All right. I cannot say like this, I have the coconut. I have the coconut with me. All right. I have 3 bags with me. You just have to tell me which one is suitable to carry this coconut. I have the plastic handbag where I can just exactly place this coconut. That is the first bag that I have. The second bag that I have is a travel backpack where I can carry 20 plus clothes. And I have one gunny bag. This is the 3 bags that I have. So I will be only carrying one coconut in these 3 bags. So you have to suggest me which one is a suitable bag to carry this coconut. If I am there with all of you, probably you would have said the first bag is a suitable, sir. I will assume that all of you will say that. Yes, the first bag is suitable because I have only one coconut and I'm very much comfortable in carrying with the first handbag because I'm not carrying anything else. I'm not wasting the space, and also it is cost effective for me when I compare the backpack and the gunny bag. Why do I carry one single coconut in the gunny bag? Why do I carry one single coconut in the backpack, heavy backpack? Yes or no? Yes. We have implemented the same concept by naming the concept of data type. This is very simple and it's very relevant to this example. You need to understand like this. The most costliest thing that we have in the system is memory. How do I utilize this memory efficiently is a big question, billionaire question for me. All this circus, what we are doing by learning a different languages, by learning a different techniques in the computer science is just to satisfy two things. One is, how do I write a program which executes in the less time, and how do I write a program which takes very less memory? Yes or no? Obviously, right? Say, for example, do you use, if you are taking 2 hours to open a WhatsApp, would you like to use it? No, right? Would you like to use if the WhatsApp is consuming 3 GB of your RAM? No, right? The same way, how do I write my program efficiently by consuming the less memory? So here is a concept for me to save my memory. Say, for example, how do you save the memory, sir? Because I know, let me take a general example. I know how much space the coconut is consuming. I know how much space 3 kgs of rice is consuming. I know how much of space 10 liters of oil is consuming. So based on that, I will start preparing the bags which is suitable to carry such content. I will not simply carry one coconut in a gunny bag. I will not carry 3 kgs of rice in a gunny bag. So instead of that, let me fabricate the suitable bags to carry that without wasting much space. Here you need to understand, here need to compare the space what I have inside the gunny bag is a memory. Whatever the coconut, whatever I have, that is the value. I'm storing the value inside the memory where I can store thousands of coconuts. So the rest of the space, what I have inside the gunny bag, isn't it waste? So how do I save this? So for that, I am preparing a separate bag, which I will be able to save my memory by carrying only that. Say, for example, I have the integer value. You all know that I have the integer constant. I have floating constant. Yes or no? I have floating constant. I have Boolean values 0 or 1. I have string constants. All right. So like this, I have different values. The capacity of these values are different when it comes to, say, for example, when I need to store this int, it requires a different amount of memory. When I want to store the float, it requires a different amount of memory. When I want to store a character, single character, it requires a different amount of memory. Again, when I come back to the string, it requires a different amount of memory. By looking at what type of data that I am storing, I will decide the data type. So mainly because of this concept, we leads to a concept called data type is what you need to remember. So fine, I have different types of data type. So when I declare int, when I declare a variable of type int, say for example, when I declare a variable of type int, so for this variable, the amount of memory which I am allocating is entirely different. When I create a variable called float of A or float of B, this B is a variable of type float. For this B, the size of memory that I am allocating is different. On what basis are you allocating, sir? Because I know what is the amount of space it consumes, the float value. Based on that, I am going to allocate the memory for this. Because of this, I am able to save a lot of memory. I am able to manage the memory. So now it's time for all of us to understand the different data types that we have. So hope you understood why do we need the data types. So we need the data type to manage the memory efficiently with the different values, different types of values that we have. All right. So it gives you the flexibility to have the multiple different values in your program. So even then, even if you have multiple different types of values, you will be able to manage your memory efficiently with the concept of data type. Let's just have a quick look what are the different types of data type that we have. So I want all of you to please make a note of this different data types that we have. So this is going to be again very important for all of you with respect to your exam point of view. So fine, I have the data types in Java. When it comes to data type, again it is getting classified into two types. One is primitive, another one is non-primitive. So when it comes to non-primitive, so please understand we also call this as derived data type. What exactly the meaning of derived data types are, please make a note of it. Say for example, I have the date of birth. Using the date of birth, can I calculate my age? Yes, of course I can calculate my age. So can I say that my age is a derived value from the date of birth? Yes, of course. In the same way, using this data type, I have derived these data types. Without this, I cannot have this. I can also call this as fundamental data types. That's what you need to remember at this point of time. Let's have a look. What is the primitive data types that I have? So again, when it comes to primitive data type, I have two categories. One is numeric, another one is non-numeric. All right. So when it comes to numeric, so I have integer and floating point, which already we have discussed about it. And when it comes to non-numeric, you all know that. So we have character and boolean. Character, you all know that. No, we have a or 5, which is enclosed with the quotes. But when it comes to boolean, please understand 0 or 1. 0 or 1. So fine. Let's take an example. For integer, let me just write 10. So for floating, 10.35. So you need to understand this is the floating point. All right. So when it comes to character, it's a single character. And also you can also write group of characters. Boolean, 0 or 1. That is what you need to remember, which I have not discussed till now. Boolean in the sense what? It will take you only two values, true or false, 0 or 1. So that is a special type of data type that we have. I can store only two values, that is 0 or 1. So that's what you need to remember. So this is a fundamental data type that we have. We have studied this many a times in our previous programming languages. Let me not go in depth about it. So now let's understand the separate derived data types that I have in the Java. The first one that I have is classes. It's a very beautiful data type that which we will be studying in the coming sessions. So please make a note of it. How exactly this classes is working? Why do we need this classes? I will be speaking about this. Now we have a beautiful concepts ahead. All right. So we have classes, we have interfaces and arrays. You all know that we had something called multiple inheritance, right? So that's what we call it as interfaces. So we will be discussing about the interfaces. Along with that, we will also discuss concepts of arrays, which you have already studied. All right. This is the different types of data type that I have with respect to Java. All right. So this is the end of the session. So please keep waiting for me till the next session is up. I will be discussing some more important and interesting topics with respect to your Java. Take care. Bye-bye.